Hey, good morning. How's it going out there? My name is Jeff Fritz. Welcome back to my live stream. It is July 19th, 2018. And we're going to write some code together today. We're going to have a little bit of fun writing some code, doing some refactoring. I want to talk about security policy enforcement today using .Net and ASP.NET Core. But let's do a little bit of housekeeping first. Hey, good afternoon, Matt. And I see Ashley's out there. Good evening. Ashley's in Australia, if I remember correctly. Thanks so much for joining me. So a little bit of housekeeping first. Today's hat, brand new hat. This is the Philadelphia Fusion hat from the Overwatch League. Overwatch League? What? Are you kidding me? What is... They play the video game Overwatch in a professional league. Various sports team owners have purchased teams in the league. There's 12 teams. They're in their end-of-season playoffs right now. And our local team that's also owned by our professional hockey team, the Philadelphia Flyers, is the Philadelphia Fusion. The Flyers, of course, are owned by Comcast, which owns big things like NBC, Universal Studios, stuff like that. And our Fusion beat New York last night, and always now from our part of the country, from our part of the world, New York versus Philadelphia is a big deal, right? It's the Jersey Turnpike. You can travel in between the two cities in about 2 hours. Take the train; it's about an hour and a half, an hour, depending on which train you get. If you get one of those fancy Acela trains, but it's always a big grudge match, Philadelphia versus New York. Eagles, Giants, Flyers, Rangers, Phillies, Mets, Sixers, Knicks. Well, Fusion and New York XL it was a slugfest last night, and Philadelphia swept 3-0 in the match. It was an amazing match. If you enjoy watching folks play video games, you're here on Twitch. It's free to watch. Check out the Overwatch League channel. There's replays over there. You can see the Philadelphia team they looked really good last night. Hey, there's Chef Brent. Good morning. And Rusaj. Hello from Ukraine. Hello, Ukraine. Good to see you out there. And there's Janos from Romania. Guntbert. Oh, terrific to see you joining us. Ozcoder. We've got a couple folks now from the Southern Hemisphere. Oh, my gosh.
Good afternoon from the UK.
Thanks so much, Sequel Mr. Magoo, for using your Twitch Prime subscription here on my channel. And I'm going to match that subscription. We're going to make a donation to Girl Develop It. They help folks, they help women, they help underserved minorities, teach folks how to write code, just like we're going to do here on this stream. All right, so I've gone on about video games and Philadelphia and New York long enough. Let's get some music playing in the background here. Today I think we're going to play a song called Yellow from Carl Franklin's Music to Code By. All right, this is music that is designed, it's engineered to get you in the groove, to get you focused so that you can do cool stuff like write code with a little bit more attention and be productive. Let me turn that up just a smidge. I think that's good. And you can get songs like this at mtcb.pwop.com. Or if you want to download the app, there's an app where you'll get a free song every month. I think the first 3 songs are free. But when you subscribe, you'll get a free song each month. And you'll get a new song each month, not free, or subscribing, of course. And that's musictoflowby.com. So we want to thank Carl for letting us use his music here in the background while we are getting productive, while we're getting stuff done. Brent says that's a Philly team I could actually root for. Absolutely. Right? Those folks who aren't interested in football, basketball, baseball here in the States, soccer, it's a lot of fun to watch the guys play Overwatch and be able to root for them. Huge crowds at the local sports bars. There's a big one downtown in our sports complex called Xfinity Live. It was packed with people last night watching video games instead of baseball. Great stuff to see. Got a new mug. Look at that. Look at that. So, yep, it works on my machine. Ship it. Oh, but he's from Pittsburgh. Yeah, I know. The Penguins and Steelers and Pirates. No basketball, though. So today, like I said, I want to get into talking about authorization. I want to look at some of the policies that we have in CoreWiki, and this is actually in preparation for tomorrow. Now, tomorrow, if you haven't seen, I've been running my mouth on this all over. Gosh, I even put a post on Reddit today, but on Twitter. I've got some friends retweeting and promoting it over there. I need to put something on Facebook. And we've also been talking about this on... come on, go ahead, close. We've also been talking about this on... I think did they mention it on the ASP.NET Community Stand-Up? But Reddit, Twitter, I need to get it on Facebook. Tomorrow is our long promised, architecture workshop. Let me bring that up here. It's in the events here on the stream. Let me bring it up here on the screen. And there it is. Let's go over to that view. There we go. So there it is right there. If you click the events button up at the top of the channel, you'll see details about tomorrow's online workshop. So it says 8 hours. It's actually only 7. But we have 7 experts that are going to join us. We're going to pair program throughout the day. Let's zoom in there a little bit more so it's easier to see. Yeah, I need to change that. So you've seen Steve Smith join us before. Our friend Julie Lerman is going to join us and talk about domain-driven design. Jimmy Bogard, I'm really looking forward to this. The mediator framework he's going to share with us along with CQRS. So CQRS is an architecture approach that you can take, and he's going to talk a little bit about that and show us his mediator framework that you can use. It's open source, it's out there on GitHub, and you can use it to build applications that follow this architecture pattern. Mark Miller, you may know him from CodeRush, from user interface design, sessions and courses all over the place. Mark's going to join us and talk a little bit about user interface design, and he was taking a peek at our CoreWiki project, and he's got some opinions he wants to share with us to help make that better. So we'll take a look at that and be able to talk through some of those concepts in a real manner, in pair program, and maybe even improve that. Mark's got a Twitch channel he's going to be starting up next week, and it's under the channel name CodeRushed. CodeRush ED. You'll be able to find him out there. He's starting next week here on Twitch. I'm thrilled to be able to support Mark and get him started in the right way with another programming channel here on the Twitch network. Miguel Castro talking about application extensibility. Miguel is a tremendous expert in architecture and building big distributed systems. So for him to join us and talk about extensibility is going to be a real treat, and he's going to be extending CoreWiki, which comes back to we need to talk more about getting authorization and some of these things tidied up here. Cecil Phillip, he's going to talk to us about serverless concepts and show us Azure functions so that we get a little bit more comfortable with using serverless architecture. And then Steve Lasker is going to wrap up the day talking about how, why, and when to use containers and get us started using containers the right way so that we've got a little bit more of a concept around it besides just, it's a VM hanging out there that you can light up and use. So check it out. There's a remind me button here, and of course you can use a share button if you want to tell all your friends about the workshop coming up. All right. Let's see. So there's that coming up tomorrow. That's going to start at our normal time, and I should edit this down. Get it to have the right time on there. Oh my gosh, Digital Drummer. Thank you so much for that subscription using Twitch Prime. I'm going to match that one as well. We'll make another donation over to our friends at Girl Develop It. I need to make a big deal when we do those donations, because I am thrilled. I'm flattered that you would use your subscription here with me. And of course, for using your subscription with me, you're going to get the .Net bot emote that you can use everywhere here on Twitch if you want to use emojis, if you want to use emotes. Let's see. Did I look over LightDB? I did look at LightDB. It looks really cool. I think it's something that it would be great to spend an hour as we refactor and get our repository pattern a little bit simpler in our core wiki. It'd be great to be able to have LightDB as a plugin module so that you could say use this database instead of SQLite, so that you have options. I think that'd be really cool to even, during our, we've had this concept that we're discussing of a startup wizard. And as that startup wizard starts, to be able to choose what's my database provider and where should it be stored, be able to choose LightDB as one of the options there besides SQLite or SQL Server or Oracle or MySQL or Postgres, whatever providers we decide to build, to have LightDB in a list there and be able to spend some time learning about LightDB and using that as a database provider, I think would be really cool. So, Janos, I really like that idea. Morning Brain. Mug reminds me I need coffee. Yes, get coffee. I wonder if he'll talk about the new release of AutoMapper he just put out. Funny you should mention that, Ashley. I was talking to Jimmy, and we did our tech check yesterday, right as he was getting ready to write that blog post. And I'm thrilled for him. I'm very happy that he was able to push out a new version of AutoMapper. Meth for the win with Miguel, maybe. Is that Tile Momendog, longtime viewer of Dev Chatter, finally caught a stream live. Oh, thank you for joining us, Tile. Tile Momendog? Let me know how to pronounce that. I doubt LightDB has an EF provider, and that's the point, Janos. By using a repository pattern, we don't have to use Entity Framework. We can code directly to LightDB in that repository, and we just switch out appropriately and tell it which provider to use, which repository object to use. People call me Tile. Tile or Till? Hey, Gutierrez. Oh, thanks so much. I appreciate the compliment. You'd have 2 layers of provider extensions. No. I would have a different repository object. First one, American way, Tile. Okay. One for EF ones and one for custom ones. That's okay. It's not a separate. It's not a separate abstraction. It's a separate implementation, and that's okay. Let's talk through. So I think Janos has a good question here. Let's talk about that repository abstraction real quick before we get into reviewing some of our pull requests and talking about authorization here. So the question is around the abstractions that we're using for data in our application. So let me come over here to Visual Studio, and here's Visual Studio. Let's get down into our code view. Now, what Janos is talking about is over here in what's now our data project, where our repositories are. Let me close all these other windows. Yeah, go away. Right now, I have an article repository, and this article repository has, simple methods. These are the methods that I'm going to use to fetch data and work with it inside the application. Now, that interface I'm implementing, and it's called right now a SQLite repository, but you're right, this is using generic entity framework interactions, and how that entity framework context is configured is going to vary differently for different applications, right? For different providers. So right now, yeah, I do have the one application DB context, and it has the stuff to seed the database. And in my startup method, which I believe I have wired up here, I have a configuration to add SQLite. It says SQLite repositories, but you're right. This is really for entity framework, and depending on... Actually, this is for SQLite because I have to use the use SQLite extension method here. But I could certainly have another one of these that says, instead of use SQLite, use SQL Server, etc. You get the point. Injecting, it can be set up with different providers for your SQLite repository. Yes, for LiteDB, all I have to do is implement these 3 repositories and use those the same way with, just implement those methods appropriately, connecting to LiteDB, and we're set. They don't, inside LiteDB, I don't have to be receiving, inside a LiteDB repository, I don't need to receive something that's specifically a LiteDB context. I can manage and pass that around. And you're right, so these really should be renamed to like article EF repository or something like that. Something that shows that it's specifically for Entity Framework. You'd either need to use a different DB context for each, use its own provider, or a different layer to select the EF provider. Right, I think we need a different startup to set the provider appropriately. And I think we can do some intelligent programming there, something a little bit tricky, so that it pivots appropriately to the appropriate provider, the correct provider, for our application, depending on which provider you choose. All right. Let's get going here. Factory based on config. Exactly. Right? Maybe we use a little reflection, so we register the appropriate set of repository objects. Now we're talking. All right, let's take a look at some of our pull requests that are out here. Okay. So the first one here is from Ashley, and this is one that we were kind of kicking around. It's an very interesting approach, because the startup method, the startup class in ASP.NET Core, can get cluttered quickly as you add features, as you add capabilities to your application. And what Ashley suggested was, well, let's pull all of those individual features out into separate classes that all adhere to the same pattern, the same interface. And let's just build something that uses reflection, finds all of them, and then loops through and just executes it, so that it's really, really simple, and we'll be able to inject new features by just implementing a class. Cool. All right. Considering the order of the app builder pipeline is important, would it be better to convert these classes to extension methods, as we've done with the SQLite database? So you're welcome to take a look at the code that Ashley wrote here. It's very impressive how it works. I really like it. But what Ashley's suggesting to do now is, instead of doing this class implementation approach, write an extension method like this, so that inside of our startup method we can just say add whatever the feature name is, and it starts to simplify our startup methods. Because when you look at our startup class, right, first off, that's a lot of using statements. I mean, come on. But when you look at configure services, right, this is from line 39 all the way down to line 81. It's 87, right? It's 46 lines of code, and there's judicious spaces in there, some comments to kind of make sure that things are configured properly. And some of these things do kind of mesh up and all belong together because they're defining the same set of features. It's a lot to look at and to try to comprehend, right? When I'm configuring just a single feature, there's a lot going on here. And even in this configure method, where we're configuring the HTTP pipeline, right? This is the order that ASP.NET Core is going to process our requests. There's a lot going on here. There's an article not found initializer being initialized up top here. We've got some security configuration that's being defined here to help us prevent against cross-site scripting and help enforce transport layer security down here, right? And we want to implement a cookie policy for privacy management reasons. We turn on authentication. We configure an RSS feed. We set up localization, right? Yada, yada, yada. There's a lot going on here. So the suggestion, that we had was, well, let's break these out into separate classes so it's a little bit easier to manage. And Ashley's gone back and thought about it and said, well, let's change this to extension methods. So if we take a look at the files now, you'll see there's now look at this, configure database, so that we have in one place, here's how to configure the database. And right, and is that in configuration startup? Okay, configure database. And configure exceptions, so we can set up all of our error handling. That I might rename that to configure error handling. But it's the same thing. That's fine. I'm okay with calling it this, but might be my preference to error handling. Configure localization. I notice using localization with an S. I'm not going to make a big deal about that. And putting all the localization things in here. So now we have a place where when we have these concepts that we need to extend, we need to enhance in our application, treading on toes. When we need to enhance our application for these concepts, here's the method to go to enhance those things. Configure RSS, right? So this will give me everything I need to configure my RSS feed that'll come out of the application. Routing. Now, okay, I'm okay with that. Configure scoped services. So these are other services that we need to make sure are in there and are scoped. We started pulling this one out into its own configure notification method. I'm okay with it going here in the meantime because we'll end up replacing this with services.add notifications. So that's okay. Configure security and authentication. And yeah, setting up cookie policy options, the security headers, and then configure authentication is just referencing those two things. So it's starting to become simpler and easier to locate these concepts, right? We're tidying up our code. Telemetry capabilities, right? So this is so that we can use app insights. We saw that with Isaac a few weeks ago, how we'll be able to track and see, pages that are missing that we may want to create, or pages that get more traffic than others, what types of browsers people are using, those types of things that'll help us as a website administrator manage and get some insight into our code. And here's that startup class. So we had all of those lines of code, and what Ashley's been able to do, look at this, look at all the red. We're going to cut all of this out, and it gets really shortened down to configure security, configure database, configure scoped services, which really, this feels like configure other stuff. Configure routing, configure localization. Simple. Our configure method, look at this. Dozens of lines of code, and it goes down to configure telemetry, configure exceptions, security headers, routing, authentication, the RSS feed, localization, the database, use the status pages with execute, that's okay, with re-execute, and then ends with use MVC. That's pretty cool. This is some sexy stuff, says Tile. I kind of agree with you. This is pretty cool stuff. I like it. Jano says, accept a func so you can override default options as a parameter. Not a bad idea. I think the last line could be in the exceptions class, but it was in a funny order in the configure method, so I kept it separate. Okay. I'm okay with that. Let's take this. I'm gonna check it out. No, not that one, this one. I'm going to check it out just to make sure that everything still works properly. And I'll go over here to Visual Studio, let it reload. And look at that, startup already is only 50 lines of code, right? Actually, it's less than that because I got all those using statements. And, right, so my startup class is really now, it's like 40 lines of code. That's much more manageable. And all of these configure methods, right, are sitting, where is this? Startup, configuration, startup, and they're all right here in these classes. That's pretty cool. I think this is much more manageable as we continue to enhance and grow this. And when we start looking at what Janice was suggesting, when we add something like LightDB as another provider, to have that be able to be placed inside of one configuration class and enhance and grow appropriately over there and not affect our startup where all these other things are being configured, it's going to reduce the possibility of collateral damage, if you will. So, looks like it's running properly. I can click into all articles. There's my 2 that I have currently. I'm not allowed to delete. We'll have to look into that. We're going to talk about permissions here in a bit. Latest changes. Okay. If I go back, and I can see my history, and everything works. Cool. All right. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's squash and merge. And everything compiled properly. We saw the check mark up here. Thanks so much. This is really great. It's simpler and easier to maintain. Awesome. Great stuff. And of course, that'll refresh the GitHub scoreboard up there, and we'll see Ashley get some credit on the Core Wiki project here for the changes. So thanks so much for that. That's really great. Let's see. Can't delete if you're not an administrator. I bet that's what it is. Long call stack on the console. It's that call stack that you see is because I was trying to navigate to it using a non-HTTPS website, right? That URL, it does a redirect during boot up. Yeah, I think that's what it's doing. Comes back to the startup wizard. Yes. And we're going to do some more work on that startup wizard over the next few weeks. Nice work. Been waiting to see how that would end up before implementing in your own stuff. Oh, there you go. Awesome stuff. Congratulations, Ashley. Okay, Irwin, right? Or Irwindev. Yeah, Irwin. I was right. Has feature notification here. Implements number 169. 169 uses the Razor engine to generate the email body for notifications. Moved notification service to Core Wiki notifications. Added a setting, require confirmed email. This is actually something important for EU and privacy compliance. Is before you start sending to somebody's email, you need to kind of confirm that they are okay with you sending them email. Tile asks, are you going to use Azure to host this? I'm going to put a reference instance out on Azure, and I'll probably host it at something like corewiki.jeffreyfritz.com. I have a couple other domains, fritzandfriends.stream. I think I have fritzandfriends.info. Maybe I'll host it at and set up one of those URLs to redirect to the same thing. But I think there's a reference implementation that I'll put out there that also has information about the project, and folks will be able to download and use this. And I'm flattered, and I'm really happy with how we've been able to grow this project into something that's interesting and compelling and easy to learn from, I think. So let me finish reading what Irwin has here for us. Move notification service to Core Wiki notification. This completely separates the notifications from Core Wiki. Cool. Hooked up confirm email to notification service and added a template. Hooked up forgot password to notification service. So if I forget my password, I can click that and it'll properly send a notification. All right. Added some more logging. Removed app settings as they were moved to corewiki.core. Moved the startup extension class for the notifications. I've been experiencing slow builds. Adding use Razor build server false to CoreWiki fixed this for me. According to Razor 2406. That's the only reason it's included. It's not required for the templating to work. So on June 14th, this was opened. Slow build times after using the 2.1 SDK. Blah, 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 blah. Can you please investigate? There's a lot of chatter back and forth. I'm looking for some sort of a resolution. And yeah, lots of people chatting about, here's my build log. Oh, it was even marked critical. Razor build server pipe name. It was closed. Okay. It's fixed for the 2.1.3. All right. So we'll see that fixed soon. But in the meantime, use Razor build server is turned off. Now this failed because it's not mergeable because we have a bunch of pages that change. Okay. Speaking of hosting, I have a small VPS not doing anything. Think we could talk about setting up a webhook call to it on commit, so it can auto-deploy a staging version of CoreWiki. Setting up a webhook call to it on commit. Okay. I think that's something cool that we can do with VSTS as well. A GitHub webhook, absolutely. Let's talk offline and let's get a webhook set up for you if you'd like that. Sure. So let's take a look at merging this, because this sounds like a bunch of really good stuff. And the one thing that I'm really happy about is this 169 is using the Razor engine for templating notifications, right? Razor engine, that's the same templating scheme that ASP.NET Core uses for formatting HTML that we present to the browser. So it's a nice language that has C# baked in, make things easier, right? More common for us as .NET developers. The format that we are using uses something that's a little bit more, it's very JavaScript friendly. It uses curly braces to insert and format content. But this looks very promising here from Erwin. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go through and do this merge real quick. If you watch my face here, you'll see that I look back and forth. I've got 3 screens, actually 4 in front of me. And I'm noticing the number of followers we have. We crossed 2,800 followers over the weekend. Maybe it was with Rocky on Tuesday. If we hit 5,000, right, and I need to figure out somewhere on screen to put this. If we hit 5,000 followers before the middle of October, the challenge is I'm going to dye my beard rainbow colored. And someone's even said, if we get to 6,000, will you dye your hair rainbow also? I don't know about doing the hair, but the beard I think we'll definitely do. Right of my cam under the screen. For better email experiences, styling should be done in the Razor view. Yes. Should that be part of the CD pipeline? CD that Brave Cobra is referencing there is continuous deployment pipeline. Yes, it could be done there. I think what Ashley's looking for is also to be able to get a hook here, just like in this case AppVer is building our application. I think what Ashley is looking for is that. Right of your cam under the screen. There? I'm not sure what you're referencing, Janos. So anyways, so we're trying to do this. We're looking at promoting and pushing for more viewers, more followers. Oh, for the subscriber progress bar over there. Well, that's where Steve's going to appear. But we might be able to put it there. Yeah, we might be able to do something there. Or you know what? Maybe I set up so that the follower count here at the bottom rotates out like my name does every few seconds. There it goes again. So that's going on, and I also, if folks were interested in getting their hands on that logo, I put a link to. I sent the logo off to Redbubble. There's a link labeled store on the Twitch wall that you can take a look at if you're interested in getting your hands on some stickers. I'm going to bring stickers to various events that I'm at. Tech Bash, Ignite, Microsoft Ignite in Florida. I'll be there. Rotating it seems better. I think that's not a bad idea, Guntbert, to put it down here below me. Okay. Let's do this merge. Let's see what we can do to fix things up. I mean, right away, since we merged that startup change from Ashley, there's some things here that we need to make sure we handle right there. Excited for an all-nighter tomorrow for the workshop. Oh, man, Ashley. It's going to be really good. And, of course, all of those videos from tomorrow, if you don't catch them live, will be over on YouTube. Going to do a showcase post about Independ. Run it once against CoreWiki just for giggles and see what it finds. That's a great idea. If you folks have tools and things that you want to test against CoreWiki, go for it. This is completely open source. Have fun making it what works for you. All right, let's go back to my dev branch. I'm going to look at my branches here to see if I can do any cleanup. And I will get rid of, let's get rid of this one from emo. Let's get rid of this one from Parathon. And I think I can, let me get pull first. There we go. And let's paste in, let's get that stuff from Erwin so we can see our merge that we need to do. Let's see. Hey, aspiring DevOps guru. My partner gets back from work at 7, so we can... You're going to stay up all night, and then you're going to finally turn in at 7 a.m. Wow. Okay, I'm flattered. Thank you so much for wanting to stay up for the night. GitLab's Auto DevOps template has a nice example of a CI/CD pipeline. Oh, that's cool. Do we have a site to buy online .NET stickers? There is. Let me just point that out real quick. I believe it's under... Is it swag? Is it logos? Shoot, where is it? Under .NET, under the .NET Foundation. It's not stickers. .NET Foundation logos. There's, I forget exactly where it is. Yeah, swag. That's where it is. Artwork to create .NET Foundation swag. There is a link. You can order stickers on Sticker Mule. That's not it. T-shirts on Spreadshirt. There we go. So you can get T-shirts. Kudu. You can get Kudu on a mug. .NET Foundation on a mug. Cup of tea. But not stickers. But all of these templates, all of these are available for you to send over to Sticker Mule and get as many stickers printed as you'd like. That way the .NET Foundation isn't collecting money on this stuff. Oh, that's cool. You're working with Patrick on that. I was having enough trouble with the 3 a.m. finishes. No chance of seeing all of it. Sorry. The workshop will be available on YouTube. Yes, it absolutely will be. I'll create another playlist out there that's labeled Architecture Workshop so that you'd be able to download if you have, I think it's YouTube Red. You can download and put those on your phone, on your tablet, and watch it offline if you'd like. But absolutely, of course, if you do want to be able to chat with our experts, you want to ask some questions about the different architectures, technologies we're looking at, best case scenario is to tune in live. All right, I of course like to use Visual Studio Code when I do my merging, because I think it does a really nice job of showing the differences between the projects. So I'm going to wait for it to finish loading all the projects as it says down here. There we go. Yes. Of course they had problems loading because they've got stuff in them. Now, it normally highlights these in various colors to show me... Oh, there's an update. Not right now. Go away. I have a feeling it's still loading and parsing all of our stuff here. Sadly away. Oh, that's okay. That's one reason why I like to broadcast on Twitch, is because you can get Twitch apps for your phone, for your tablet, for your Xbox, your PlayStation, so that wherever you are, wherever you have a screen, you can pretty much get Twitch. It's not showing me the files that are having problems here, that are having the conflicts. What happened to Visual Studio Code here? Did you pull in the changes? Yeah, they're right there. Auto merging conflict. So, I mean, and it's showing me here are the ones that we're having a problem with. So, Visual Studio Code should be showing me exactly where those changes are. So, like for example, Startup CS, right? Here's our changes. So we should be able to figure out what's going on here. I merged Ashley's PR, and I started merging Irwin's, and this is where I have these conflicts. So what Irwin did here, the big change is this one: services add email notifications. You don't mean in the source control tab. Well, I went over to source control, right? And I can see the deletes here. I mean, I guess these are the files that I do need to merge, right? That it's showing me up top here. Look at the plugins to see the status of the Git plugin is the recommendation over here. It's this one. Wait a sec. It was here. I did have a Git plugin. Git Lens. That's a really good one that I've had before. Not sure why it isn't on here. Git log, file history, compare. Sure, we'll take that one too. That sounds cool. Git blame. Why not? Git merger. Allows you to change easily between Git projects. Well, it's this one right here. Git tree compare. Okay. Working tree comparison against any branch or tag. Yeah. The ones with the C to the right are conflicts. Correct. Yes. What I was used to seeing was over here, they were marked and highlighted, and I wanted to go through inside of this viewer. But that's okay. I can work here in this approach and see my 7 changes up top. So let's see if we can resolve this change. Yeah, but thanks for pointing that out, Nate. I appreciate you sharing that information. Perhaps restart Visual Studio Code? Sure, I'm not opposed to that. It was was right there. We'll restart. And that lit up. There we go. So Git Lens is now installed. So if I remember correctly, yes. Git Lens will show us the changes in the code lens of each one of these files. But we need to clean this up first. So let's get rid of some of this. Yes, I know there's an update available later. Go away. Shoo. I'm going to take the head change. So the current change. And then down here, what I need to do is I need to capture this change that Erwin had for us. Keep the current change and go down into configure scoped services. Right now, this should appropriately compile. Look at that. Ashley, 19 minutes ago. Look at that. That's pretty cool. But I think it was in this. Is it going to jump? It's not going to jump. It was configure scoped services. So what I believe Erwin replaced is this bit right here. I think that's what we got. Now I got a bunch of red lines. Right, if I control dot. Yeah. It looks to me like the CS proj, this one, isn't loading properly. And the incoming change is to add Razor to the notifications. I'm good with that. So this project isn't compiling, and that's why those notification references aren't going. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Oh, the Visual Studio bug you submitted last time is under consideration. Great job, Janice. Well done. Good morning, Bane Games. Probably want to keep the article search engine. Yeah, I thought it was over there. Did I accidentally cut that? Oh, I did. It's those ones I want to remove. All right. To finish this one, so we added templates shared. Yeah, I want to take the incoming here. All right. Now, that should be compiling better. No, I'm not going to blame Ashley. I still have red lines. This conflict is all resolved. Yep, stage that. These being moved, I think we're okay on. Yes. Okay. Let's start up. I think we're okay on now. Forgot password. Looks like the only change is in using statements up here. So using CoreWiki data security, CoreWiki's area, I think we want to take both. I think we're good there. Let's look at register. And the only change is here as well. I'm okay. I'm always okay with accepting using statements because, right, they won't clobber the application. Typically. I'll take both on those as well. All right. Let's make sure this builds. Thanks, phone, for not notifying me. Are you kidding? Oh, that's terrible. All right. Oh. Yeah, let's put index in there. All right. So now we're just about ready to go. What's that one left? Configure scoped services. Yeah, we're good with that. Thanks. I know. Do it. All right. Let's make sure it runs. I'll go down into the core wiki project. .NET run. Did anyone else submit a green screen? No, nobody else did. All right. So we've got a couple of things here. Typer namespace data does not exist in core wiki areas identity. So this is forgot password, index, register. Let's take a look at those. So this is areas identity pages account. Areas identity, let's see here. Pages account. Green screen widget for stream tools. Well, I actually have a green screen here behind me. I think it does standby reloading. So what standby reloading is referring to, and I tried promoting this a little bit. Let me go out to twitter.com. I published when I got the mug delivered. It actually is probably, yeah, there we go. I published this picture. And the standby reloading started putting some very nice green screen work out there on this. Let me see, where is it? And there we go. That's pretty good. And there was another one. It was a Jurassic Park. There it is. Did you know I was in the film Jurassic Park? And that's not me. That's me. No, don't do that. Oh. So, oh, you wish I was the dinosaur. So, just terrific. I didn't spill my drink at all. Did you see that? I'm a professional. Do not attempt dinosaur wrangling or drinking coffee and sitting on the throne at the same time. So, you're welcome to go out and have fun with that green screen. But yeah, stand by. Why don't you drop me an email, jeff@jeffreyfritz.com, and I will ship you a mug for your work there. It's great stuff. Thanks so much. Yeah, drop me a line with your shipping address, and I'll send one out to you. Thank you very much. My mother thought it was a scream. So I think that's now the wallpaper on her iPad. With the dinosaur chasing me. So, yeah, we'll make sure we get a mug sent out to you. Thank you very much. All right, let's see if we can clean up these couple of issues here. So this was in forgot password. Oh gosh, thank you. Little Sylvanas asks, can I stream at 720p? I am an affiliate on Twitch. It should scale automatically. We have no internet in our country. Yeah. My source is at 1080 and it should scale. If it doesn't, it's because they're having they have a lot of people presenting right now. Gosh. I could scale down to 720, but I'm going to have to restart the stream to do that. And I'm about an hour in. I'd rather not stop right now. What I'm working on is I'm working on getting that Twitch partnership, so that they'll always scale to 720p for me. Because I want, yeah, transcoding is not currently available. Yeah, I don't have control over that. I do prefer to transmit at the higher, to record and transmit at the higher resolution, because I send it over to YouTube a little bit later. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I have a couple phone calls with Twitch people over the next week. I'll see what I can do to make that, to put that in a better place. For tomorrow, we should be transcoded. So, all right. I want to go through and I want to fix this. It was forgot password, and it's in the using over here. It's referencing CoreWiki area's identity does not have a data. So this doesn't exist anymore. Next one was index CSHTML CS. Under account manage. Account manage. And this one is referencing that namespace as well. Register CSHTML CS. This one. Let me get rid of that. Typer namespace app settings in configure RSS feed. Configure RSS feed. So now app settings could not be found. Hang on, let me come back to the comments there in the chat room. So this is configure RSS feed line 12, where it's bringing in. All right, at this point, some of these fixes, I'm gonna be. You know what? Let me reload. Let's reload the window. See if we can force it to find these things. Because I should be getting a red underline over here. Loading all projects you see down here. And it says blame Ashley. There we go. Now I've got my red underline. So if I control dot on that, now it'll build my using statement properly. Good. All right. So that was under configure RSS feed. And in notification service CS, app settings could not be found. So where is notification service CS? Well, this one. But I thought we moved these. I thought these were removed. Right? This should be... Yeah, I thought these were moved. One of the things that Erwin did, I believe, was moved it. Yeah, there it is right there. So these should be deleted under services. Can I delete from here? Oh, I can. All right. Now this one, because I moved notification service, right? Yep, that doesn't exist. So it should still build. Let's see how it works. One error, let's see. In startup, line 33, let's go back to startup. Don't have it open. There I do. Line 33, app settings. Why do I have 2 startups open? Don't do that. Try again. Those were moved. Yep. Oh, there's Erwin. Oh, look at that. Janescu put up a picture and the bot didn't identify it. What's going on there? What's going on there? Let's restart it. Good. Restart the bot. All right. Now, let's see what that picture is. Iron Sky, the coming race. Oh boy. There we go, now the commands are working. Yep, the service folder can be deleted as well. I think you're right, but I've got a build fail here. I thought we just fixed this. Now, why do I have... close to the right. Right? Now, why do I have a second one open? I'm confused. You know what? I'm going to close this and roll over to full Visual Studio. Reload all. No. I'm going to close everything and reopen. Alright, so there's app settings. Get the configuration bits in there. Save. Yeah, there we go. Dinosaur, elephant, same thing. Yeah, kind of. Cool. Build succeeded. Let's run our tests. Make sure those run. And then we'll actually kick this off and see what it works. Yeah, I agree, Stealth Hacker. Look at that. Do I want a PR for user role store to decouple identity and EF? That's not a bad idea either. Not a bad idea at all. Alright. Test ran properly. Let's run the website. Make sure we can open, get in, get around. And then let's take a look at our notification changes that came in a little bit here from Erwin. Alright. What is it? Localhost. Is it 8080? Is that where that is? There we go. Alright. Looks good. History. Yep. Latest changes. Fantastic. And these pages all work. Cool. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Do I need to add? Yeah, I do. No. Merged changes. All right, now I want to take a look at the changes Erwin made for notifications because Erwin brought in, it not only finished moving everything into the notifications project here for us so that all of that stuff is in one place, but now we have Razor templates. And these are going to be a little bit friendlier for some of the things that we do as .NET developers to send emails out. So our styles are in here. We can pass models in. Please confirm your email address. Nice. Nice. Forgot password email. Reset your password. New comment email. Cool. That looks really good. A pretty cool bot. Oh, thank you, Stealth Hacker. Need a way to get on that scoreboard. I don't know what to tell you. So this looks pretty good. I think we need to put... I'd love to see us put some unit tests around these as well. Is there anything that lets you preview Razor templates pages with junk data? No, there isn't. That might be a cool Visual Studio extension, or even a Visual Studio Code extension, that would allow you to specify here's what the model is, and then render the HTML page because it's just an HTML page. That might be pretty cool. I'm not that great with UI, so if someone wants to improve on the texts or layout, no worries, Erwin. I am not concerned. But you're right, if somebody does want to improve on that, they are welcome to send a pull request and get on the scoreboard. Cool. All right. So we merged everything up. Thank you very much for this refactoring and introducing the Razor engine. This will make it easy for .NET developers to build more templates. Awesome. And let me make sure 169 is closed. That was, here we go. Sweet. All right. Fix for issue 203. Would get a bit tricky with partials, perhaps. I'd be interested to see if anyone is working on it already. That's a very interesting idea for a project, Ashley. That can be used with a link pad script so you can test it out. I have a service that renders a Razor view as a string. Oh, there you go. So I can send it in via Ajax. That's pretty cool. Just hard to see what the end result for things like these emails without actually sending an email. Yes. Each email client has its own HTML engine. You're right. What do you mean by preview? You mean like render the Razor view inside of Visual Studio, or populate the model with data and debug as normal? I think what Ashley is suggesting is populate the model with data and render the HTML. Yeah. The latter would require you to navigate to the screen yourself. It does right now, but I think to expand a little, to just walk through the thought exercise that Ashley's put out there. If we had a way to say debug this Razor page, view this Razor page, and have it prompt, well, I'm looking for this model, and specify the values for the properties, and then just generate another tab in Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio proper that uses the built-in HTML engine that's in the built-in browser engine that's in both tools, and just spit out the HTML from a Razor engine merge. That's not bad. That's pretty cool. Check out Papercut. Papercut, simple desktop SMTP server. Okay, for testing SMTP, not bad. But just for, yes, we have a code editor and a designer preview. Right. I like where you're thinking. So let me continue into this bug so we can get over to our authorization discussion. So this is number 203, and it's 204 is listed here as well. 203, opt in to receive notifications checkbox not currently set, correctly set on page load. It's just missing a checkbox. You needed 4 commits for that? What happened there? Okay. Yes, let's squash that. Thanks for fixing this. All right. Get Mads on that. Hey, Mr. Regs, good to see you. All right, so that should close 203. Let's jump over to that real quick, make sure it closed. It did, good. All right. One more pull request. Add a CSP nonce to the PWA script tag. So a CSP nonce, CSP is a content security policy. A nonce is a pseudo-random string of characters that helps to ensure that the script that's being referenced is what it's supposed to be. And this is a conflict in startup. Gee, I wonder why there's a conflict in startup, Ashley. Oh, those are artifacts of syncing branches. Cool. That makes sense. All right, let's take a look here. So it's add new PWA options, enable CSP nonce equals true. Yep, that's fine. Did we get that in the other, where is it? Right, add progressive web app. It's not in this one. Yeah, it's in scoped services. Oh, it's already handled over here. So, yeah, so I think, Ashley, I think we can discard this one because it's already in the other, it's already in that other commit that we already received. Discarding as this was covered in another PR. Cool. All right. And what do we have here? Can I paste the view rendering service as a string with a paste bit? Yeah. Link pasting is available here. Not a problem. Render razor view to string. Yeah. So, and right, that's a little bit of what's going on inside our notification service. I think it's template parser. Is that where it is now? View data. Where is it actually referencing Razor now? That's to find it. I just want to look in this project. Right, it's an iTemplate provider. Right, so there's the template. There it is, iRazor View Engine, and you're receiving the Razor View Engine. And then actually, not a problem, Janice. Yeah. It's in the template parser. So you're receiving the temp data in the service provider. And I don't see you actually creating a new Razor View Engine. You're referencing the view engines. Yeah. It's being passed into you. Okay, thank you. Configure Razor View Engine options. There we go. Thanks for picking up on that, Tile. Thank you very much. All right. So, yeah, template provider, Razor View Engine. Yeah, it's being passed in through dependency injection. Yep, same view engine as the pages. Awesome. Cool. Right, and you're actually doing the rendering. Not that one. Right, that's adding the capabilities, getting the template, search locations. Where was it? We were just looking at it. We were just looking at it. Right, taking the view engine and saying view engine get view and passing in all the information about it. Right? So that returns the template, and then this is being used in, is it notification service? Where it actually puts the couple pieces together. Yeah. Format email message in the message formatter. There you go. Get the template and then template parse, and that's going to pass in the model that the Razor engine will use. So, all right. I hate getting razored. All right. Extract method code refactoring provider and has been disabled. Stop that. All right. So we've got everything merged. I want to go through and do a little bit more. We have authentication configured, but it feels a little bit heavy-handed in some places, and in other places it's not quite configured yet. And we also have this problem where our first user is not an administrator. And right, as we add people to the as we add users to the application, we need to make sure folks are administrator appropriately. All right, claims for the win. Yeah, claims are a pretty cool thing in the new ASP.NET Core identity, right? It's a way for us to use not just roles to identify folks and their credentials to be able to access and work with features of the application. So let's move back over here. Now, I believe if we go back, configuration, startup, security and authentication. So right now, there's our security headers. Authentication is down here. Where did we put our authorization? We did. We put our policy over here. Claims, the NoSQL of authorization. That's a good way to reference it. A lot more breathing room, and it's the way for us to attach really a property of somebody to a policy and actually have policies, not just a role that was just really a piece of text. You know, these are administrators. Well, why are they administrators? Well, because they're in this group called administrators. Instead, by having policies like can delete articles, and saying, well, you must be a member of administrators in order to be able to delete. That makes it a little bit clearer. And you get admin, and you get admin, and you get admin. Oh, it's Oprah Winfrey. What do we got? All right, I'm going to open that on screen. Here we go. Thank you, Stealth Hacker. Okay, the fact that the bot recognized that it was Oprah Winfrey, that's pretty good. Holding a sign, that's pretty close. It's pretty close. But the bot was really good at that. I think the bot being that accurate that's pretty good. All right. And I hope you folks in the chat room appreciate the bot's able to do that. Because I think that's a pretty cool feature to make it easier for us to know exactly what's going on when somebody posts a link, right? Instead of just blindly saying you're not allowed to post a link, but to get titles and to get the identification of what's in those in those images is pretty cool stuff. Okay, so I have this initial policy here. Yes, especially for screen readers. Well put, Janos. Yes. What if it's something bad? Does the bot say what it is? Good question, Tile. I'm going to leave this page open. I can show you. Let me open another. This is in our Stream Tools project. Stream Tools. And it's in the chatbot. It's actually a command called image descriptor. And if we look at this, so it will do a search, right? So here it's using Azure Cognitive Services, and make sure it gets a successful return. And then when it does, it inspects it. And if Azure says this is adult content, we'll send a message, we'll send a whisper to that person that says, hey, this is adult content. If it's racy, we'll say, this is too racy for the chat room. Otherwise, we'll post that to the chat room. Send message actually posts to the chat room. We'll say, hey, it's too racy. Otherwise, we'll actually post, here's what it is and the confidence level. Now, if you're interested in seeing how we wrote this and when we talk through this, take a look on the YouTube channel and look for the pair programming session I did with Scott Cate. Cate is spelled C-A-T-E. And you'll see how we built this and how we tested it. We used a picture of a guitar to do our initial testing. And then we grabbed a picture of, I think it was like the women's volleyball team. And we tested with that, and that came through as racy. And we were able to identify and get that information. So pretty cool stuff to see and work with. And I barely hit the minimum level to be charged for inspecting these images on the Azure service. So this is all being done for free when the Fritzbot reaches out and checks in with Azure on that. So you could write a custom auth attribute that would take the controller in action and make that as a claim. Article edit. I could. My Code Pilgrimage asks, why is there a minimum amount of bits required? I want to make sure that I don't have folks trolling with 1 bit and posting some information, something racist, something that we don't want to share here, something that's not family friendly here on screen. And I think the minimum bits is 10, which is still not a lot, but it tries to ensure that folks are participating a little bit. I do have friends when they do streams that they know are going to attract more attention, they set the minimum bits to like 100 to ensure. And it's right, it's just to make sure that we don't get that we don't get trolls. So maybe those should be whispers, says Standby Reloading. Maybe they should be whispers. I also think we need to delete content from the chat room if it should not be present. Now see that there's a 10 with something racy. Now it won't read it. It won't read it unless you hit 100. But it appears there. Thanks for the bits, Tile. Always appreciate folks cheering the bits, and those do get matched as well. All right. Let's add some of these other policies that we want to have here. The first one is logged in users can write comments. On our details page, details page. Our details page has the comment area at the bottom. Comments partial. And this comes in, I believe, yeah, it's under create comments. So there should be, where is it? Well, there isn't right now. There should be something here where it's, no, that's not it. Standby reloading. Is authenticated to allow. Let me come back to that. Right now, the details page, I believe it completely hides. Well, you know what? Let's just run it. Let's do this. I've got a couple of console windows open. I'm going to open another one because I can. Core wiki, Dotnet, watch, run. So it's just running. Master, this branch is 311 commits behind dev. Yeah, I need to. No, I don't need to format C, stealth hacker. I need to do a release and effectively merge it up. All right, I'm on 8080. Maybe we can do one of those at the end of this so that we're ready for our workshop tomorrow. All right, localhost 8080. But you are right, there is a mess of error code here as it's starting up. That's okay. All of that is info. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we're fine. Okay. So this new comments section should be hidden if you are not logged in. The page, let me go here. The show where I did that introduction, yeah, there's this guy with the hair. Ooh, look at the hair. Was with Scott Kate, and that was in May at the same time as Build. Look at that hat. Woo! There we are with Scott, May 10.
So I just created this dope website with Wix.
It's a dope website with Wix. No.
First up.
Go away. There we go. So we were in a room at, actually, we were in the same room the ASP.NET Community Stand-Up is shot at. So, I will grab this. And I'm going to open... No. And I will put that in the chat room. Where's the chat room? There it is. There you go. All right. So this comments area we want to remove if you are not logged in, right? So if I am, and actually, see, it removes the comments entirely, and that's not right. We want to show at least the details. So right now, this is comments partial is what it's including, and comments partial is this right here. So this is doing just is if user is authenticated and deciding whether or not to include the create comments and list comments content. And I think we need to move this. Not is authenticated on create on the entire block, but just on the create comments section. Now the other side of this is we now have a discuss comments. If you want to use discuss to manage your comments, and this just includes discuss here. Now I don't know the settings that you need in order to turn off posting comments. Yes, WorldWake. That's an Arnold-ism, isn't it? Yeah, format C, QS, no. More format C, QRS. Aha! I keep hearing discussed. No, oh gosh, the discuss platform. So I don't know how to turn it off inside of that, but here I definitely know how. And I would really prefer to have a policy instead of just testing against is authenticated here. I'd rather have an actual policy that says require authenticated in case we change that later. Then we have that abstraction available out there for us to work with. Now I believe I can just do, let's see if, can I just do add policy again? Right, does add policy return? No, it returns a void. All right, so let's add policy can create comments. And right now, like I said, this one is not as impressive. We're gonna just require authenticated user for this so that I can move this over here. Now, the except you're running on Linux. Yeah, cool. This policy name, I'm starting to think, do I really want to pass these strings around? Barry Rang. I don't know what Barry Rang is. All right. So I'm looking at these and thinking I'd rather not have these magic strings running around. Right? I'd rather have these as something that I can easily reference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a public static read-only. Right, I want to create a class that has these as properties, as constants. Yeah, just do that. Yeah, public constant string policy. Let's say can create comments, and we'll just make it that. Right? Or probably an enum. Well, an enum resolves to numbers. I need this to map to strings. Static as well, I think, else you can't reach it. Yes. So maybe, right, maybe I create public static class policy. Right, and inside of here, let's just move this. And then I can remove that. Right, so now over here I can say policy.can create comments. What do you think of that? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that's stupid. I'm going to move this. Public const string. What do you think? You just threw up a little bit in your mouth from that naming. I think I fixed it. I think I fixed it. Does it need to be public? This could be internal. Sure. Sure. And then over here on comments partial, then instead of saying if user identity is authenticated up here, I'm going to move that and this one. Put the if statement there, the at there. And I think I want to put it inside of create comments. No, don't even call it. Yeah. Right? So then it's if, and then I have to check the policy evaluator, right? If you, is it user identity? No, I need the policy evaluator. right? So the can delete uses that, and that's in over here. Article row. Article row has it, right? Oh, look at that. I forgot. We put the ASP policy tag helper into play. Ooh. Wasn't it better before so it doesn't even get the view if you can't create comments? Yeah, I think that's what we're going to end up doing here. I think we can just use this. Right? Oh, it's in... Right, so ASP policy. Will it F12 through that? Nope. Let me check that tag helper, because it would be cool. No. Is it in a tag helpers folder? Yes, that's where it is. Here we go. It's on an anchor, it's on a button, and it's on an input. Rats. All right. Wrap the partial call in a div tag with those helpers. Won't happen. You have to cast the user to a claims principal if you want the claims. I don't want the claims. I want to do the policy evaluation. Right? ASP.NET Core Policy Evaluation. It's like a policy evaluator or something. I forget what the name of the thing is. Da, 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 da. No, that's a handler. No. Registration. Yeah, I actually want to test it. Nope. There we go. Authorization service. Oh, we're already doing that. In article row. Over here, we need to add it. Let's move you down here. I think that's fine. So then if authorization service, authorize async. I need to await that. Right, authorize async takes a user resource and an authorization requirement or some other stuff. So my user, I do have a user. Cool. Now why am I getting this here? What's this one? So we'll decide whether to await that or not. Now, I don't know why that's there. Are Razor pages async by default? Yes, they are, actually. And you'll see errors thrown if you aren't doing things asynchronously. I need an extra parenthesis here. There we go. Authorization policy name. That's the one I want. So now I can say authorization policy dot no. Ew. That's not going to work. Right? Because I'm going to need to do that. And then I can say policy dot can create comments. And that just got a heck of a lot more confusing. It's internal static, yeah. Yeah. But this authorization policy has the same name as an ASP.NET object. So I think we should rename this. Let's call this I don't want to call it just straight authorization. Right? Because... Auth policy. Okay, if we do that, then I can get rid of those. Right, I need to get the using statement for that now. Which is this one. Okay. Now, why am I getting red? Cannot implicitly convert authorization result to bool. Right. I need to go to the end of this and say... Ugh. After it's been awaited, say succeeded. There we go. Policy constants. Move policy out to its own place in business. Move this out and call it policies. Go to policy constants. Okay. Right, still found it, good. And then let's control dot and move it. Still found it, good. Over here. Yeah, okay. Gotta run, take care. All right, good seeing you, aspiring DevOps guru. So now that's being implemented, and it gives us a better abstraction over the concept of can they create comments. All right, authors can create articles. Authors can edit their own articles. Administrators can delete articles. So we did this last one. Identity is purely a web thing. It is? Is that just for views? Correct. It is just for view. You can also do it inside your pages and inside your controllers to alter business logic flow as well. Maybe keep it with the rest of your identity stuff. Yeah, it is in the identity area, so I'm okay with that. So if we wanted to have a level called authors who are allowed to write articles. Okay. We also have this problem of our first user is not created as an administrator right now. Let's fix that before we start creating another role, and then we need to manage roles and assign people to roles and have that kind of user interface as well. So what I'm going to do, it's going to be amazing, is when we create users, right? So if you do a login, right? And if you log in with an external, that's two-factor authentication. If you log in with an external, another service, here we go. It routes to external login. And on the post back, configure external authentication properties, set up the challenge results. If there's an error, blah, 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 blah. If the user does not have an account, ask the user to create an account. So here it's posting back, trying to get an email from them. I'm trying to figure out where that first person is created so that we can inspect and say, oh, make this person an administrator as well, because they're the first user created. On post confirmation, get external login, blah, blah, blah. Here it is, new core wiki user with their email address. Yeah, all right. So we get their email address, we create the user, and there it is, created. And now we want to, and then here it is, adding the login information. I want to check to see if they are the first user, and if they are, then let's make them an administrator. First user admin is installer, deploy responsibility. You're right, Stealth Hacker. I'm okay. I don't need to do this right now. I do need to have at some point a user interface so I can assign folks to roles. Which goes back to that first user creation thing so that I know whether you're an administrator and you're allowed to assign folks to roles. But I want... Let's define this next one about an author. That an author is allowed to write articles. It is a vicious cycle. Yes. Oh my gosh, Ozcoder, you're completely right. So I'm thinking of creating a role for authors. I don't know what the claim would be to make someone an author, other than they've been assigned to that role. So let's add another policy. Policy constants can write articles, and we'll define that later. Policy require authenticated user. Policy require role. Authors. And that'll be authors can write articles. But we want to say require role authors or require role administrators. All right, so let's create. Look at that. It won't let me create the constant. Blah. Public const string that. Okay. And go away. So now if require role takes an array of roles. It says the roles required. Are those roles logically ANDed, or are they logically ORed? I don't really understand where claims are necessary. Claims for this project may not be as necessary because folks are going to be coming in from pretty much the public web. But if you're in an organization where you are using an LDAP server or something like Active Directory, where you do have claims, you have features about a user that are already defined and stored in that security database, then there are claims that might be important, like birth date, like nationality, right? Maybe Americans have certain capabilities and Canadians have other capabilities that they're allowed to do. There's things like that claims would be important for. Depends on how you want deployment to run. If it should just be git clone, then the idea of first user is admin looks good. I agree, Stealth Hacker. I think it is a logical and, which then leads to, how do we logically or? It is kind of model data. You're right. If I say, that was my enter key. If I say requirements, now I can provide a list of requirements which must succeed for this policy to be successful. Right, so then add, and now these are being logically ended. Logically ended? Yeah, I think that works. That's still, I want to say or, so I can say you can be an administrator or an author in order to pass this, right? Administrator should always be able to do these things. Right, if I said add requirements, I can provide a parameter list of those. Me. They must match all criteria specified. You took a peek at the code. Isn't that the great benefit of open source code? Thank you. That has rare use cases. Different folks have different needs. Rare use cases for you might be very common use cases for other folks. Shoot, there is a way to logically or this together, to say this or that. There was a way. I may have written it in the book. Hang on. Security issues 564. Policies that allow any requirement instead of all. Yes. Oh, catch you later, Gunbert. Yep, we'll be online tomorrow. Absolutely. All right, let's take a look at that. Any requirement. Yeah, here we go. Yes. You have a single requirement that could be succeeded in several ways. New any requirement. There you go. We view access as a single requirement, for example, edit. The edit requirement has multiple ways to fulfill it. Oh no. It's Barry. If the user is an administrator or this user owns the resource. So you write multiple handlers. Admin authorization handler, handle if is super user. This checks for an admin. Document edit handler. Right, so here's where you write your or on these things. So what happens now is if either succeed, authorization succeeds. Right. So this is where they're oring these together. Yeah, describe, blah, 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 blah. You can call them permissions. It's a semantic. It's the same sort of argument around claims versus permissions. No, it's not going to change the name. Add requirements. Right, it's this require any that I'm looking for. I think we're going to need to add this ourselves. And I like that sample code they had up front. Any requirement, and then be able to do these. I have to admit I didn't look through the whole thread before I pasted it. Not a problem. No. Not a problem. I think this does exactly what we're looking for. because then we can add the requirement, new any requirement. Yeah, there we go. Configure authorization options. Oh my gosh. Okay, hang on. This is a mess. I want to be able to specify an array and say any of these. And that just looks messy. So overly complicated, I agree. But I think I wrote this in the book, actually. Asynchronous templates. No. Okay, registration, granting access, claims. It's like I wrote a book. Oh wait, I did. Make policies descriptive. Yeah, I created a custom requirement to do these before. Let's create a custom requirement that says is in any role. So I'm looking at page 300 of the book. Let's do this. All right. Here we go. We're going to create a requirement called any role. Any role requirement. I like the sound of that. We'll create another class here. Like I said, I wrote it in the book. All right. Public class, any role requirement. And we're going to implement authorization. It's authorization handler. There we go. And it's weird. You actually have to have it. Any role requirement. That's weird syntax. I'm going to blame Barry for that one. Authorization requirement. Okay. There we go. And now we can implement stuff. Yep. Handle requirement async. Fantastic. Now, I want to be able to create this. Lots of flexibility and lots of confusion to go with it. Yes. Any role, any keyboard for any .NET and C# developers. Require any role. Well, okay, this is a requirement. That's why I'm using requirement as the last noun in the name of this. So if we, let's see if we added, oh no, I can't make this an extension method on this class. Let's move this to another file. Where'd it go? All right. And I could add a public static class. That's not how you spell that. Requirement extensions. Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be so good. Because what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to say policy require, to Ashley's point, any role, and then be able to say authors, administrators. That's the syntax I want. Now, policy is an authorization policy builder. All right, public static authorization policy builder, and the signature I want is this, and we're going to receive, nope, not that, that. Okay. And we'll call that policy. And now we want to have a, right, params string, right, policies. Oh, it feels so good. All right. So we're going to end by returning the policy, right? So that satisfies everything. Now what I want to be able to do is, what is that book there? What is that book you got there? This will be my book. Teach Yourself ASP.NET Core in 24 Hours by, where's my name? There it is. It's an older book. It covers ASP.NET Core 1.1. Consequently, people hate me on Amazon because of it. Hate is even a light word. I want to say policy, add requirements. Add requirements. And I'm going to add a new any role requirement. Right? And then I can pass it the list of policies. And that should work. Now, this needs a constructor that'll do that. So we'll just control dot and generate that constructor. Haha, look at that. Is that paper? Shut up. Yes, it's paper, Tile. Param string roles. Roles? Oh, yes, roles. Duh. Thank you. Yes, these are the roles we want, which means this needs to be, let's F2 that, roles. And up here, we'll F2 this to roles. Okay. Major life achievement right there. Well, thank you, Ashley. ASP.NET Core v22. I know. Why params instead of array or list? So that you don't have to create an array or list. You can just comment and put it out there. I mean, heck. Let me finish writing the requirement, and then we'll write some overrides there. So the requirement, what I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to say var out value. No, it's not an out value. Right, I want to check to see if they're in any one of the roles. Yeah, all right. So we'll do this. For each, and we'll call this role in roles. If context.user.is in role, and then we'll test against that role name that was passed in. If they are in that role, right, context succeed and the requirement. Right, so for each one of the roles that was passed in, we're going to for over it. We're going to reach into the context, which has the user. It's the authorization context. And test to see if they're in the role. And then we can say they succeeded properly. At which point, yeah. When I conclude down here, I can just return task, completed task. And now we're in, that's all I need to make this work. Now, I'm going to come back. It feels so good to be able to reference my own writing. Let's add another override here because I think it kind of makes sense. So we'll add another one here, and instead of receiving a params, we'll receive an IEnumerable. That's not an IEnumerable. Fat-fingered Fritz, I tell you. IEnumerable of type string called roles. And we're going to need one of these. So you can pass in. Cool. Why is that upset? Right, I didn't write anything yet. You punk. So what I can do is this. roles. I should be able to say roles dot to array. And I'm going to need some link help there. And now I've got if params is good enough for the framework. Yep. Hey, there's my book. Thank you. Should you break out of the for loop on the first rule there? Good point. Good point. It's in any. You got it. Got a new mechanical keyboard. Fat fingers near that Windows key is taking some getting used to. Yeah. You can make one of those call the other. Sure. Sure. Return, require any role. Policy roles to array. Well, that's actually looping and calling itself. Right? I think if we leave it like that, there was a joke about ASP.NET Core v22 in the latest community stand-up. Oh, but it's coming. Free shipping! Yeah, doing that as a params. It's a string array. And 8% off. It's 1.1. I'll warn you now. And people got quite upset. It took me a long time to write. So that should now do what I want over here. To be able to say that if you're any of these roles, you can do these things. Cool. Can write articles, so that took care of this. Authors can edit their own articles. We'll figure that out later. But this can write articles, this is going to go on the new article button in the corner right now, which I believe... Where is that? I believe it's in the... Is it in the layout? Search. There it is. Create is the... Here it is with the new article. So I believe we can just add ASP policy. And can I say policy constants? Oh, tell me I can do this. Nope. Policy constants is hiding where? I feel like I want to move it out of there and into something a little bit more. I imagine 2.0 didn't make 1.x irrelevant. You're correct. It did not. What's the link that Ashley has there for us? Let's see, what do you have? Require claim. That's the whole params and IEnumerable used in ASP.NET Core. Ah, okay. Yeah, it adds the requirements. So you end up with it being logically anded. Logically and-id. Yeah, there we go. All right. I feel like we should move this to another namespace so it's more accessible. You really like that Iron Sky, don't you? So the params one calls the IEnumerable one. Hang on. But one casts the array to enumerable. Require claim. The one takes params, the other one takes IEnumerable string. So it's casting the params to IEnumerable string. I see what you're saying. All right. This. So this is the params. Instead of doing this, return require any role policy, and then IEnumerable string on the roles. Cool. Finn's supporting a Finnish movie. They're still null checking in both, so it's not really reducing code or code repetition. I'm not concerned about null checking. Whirlwind in Azure. Not familiar with that. All right, so over in layout, I want to be able to say reference policy constants, which is in CoreWiki areas identity. That's fine. We'll put a using statement for that. So here, oh, come on. Come on. I want to be able to say can write articles. It's an anchor tag, so it should do it. I mean, heck, let's put the whole using statement, put the whole namespace on there. Actually, why is that? Oh. Duh. So if I put that there, hey, now we're talking. Cool. I think that does what I need for that. So now if I save, this should have... Any role requirement, line 54. Any role requirement. Any role requirement. No, we're good there. Come on, rebuild. Yeah, I was missing the using. You're right, Franklin. No, doesn't like it. Any role requirement, line 54. Yeah? Missing a starting on line 40. No, I'm good here. Policy constants is inaccessible due to its protection level in the layout. Nuts. ESA and NASA collaboration. Oh, cool. There we go. All right. So now if I go back into CoreWiki, I'm not logged in, so that new article should disappear. That gets grayed out. Look at that. And my comments got removed because I'm not logged in. If I do log in now, will you log in with the Twitters? The Twitters? I still don't have this because I'm not... I'm a user, but I'm not an author or an administrator. So, I like that it's there. I thought, is there a way for me to hide it entirely? So it's not just grayed out. So ASP policy hidden gets or sets whether the block is hidden or not when the user doesn't have permission. So there we go. ASP policy hidden. Let me put that over here on this. ASP policy hidden true, so that it disappears when I don't have the permission, and there it goes. It's like we planned it that way. Width 0. Oh, wow. Thrinen, thank you for hosting. And I've got a bunch of people that have been following here today. Thank you so much. HTR Dev, Design Flaw, My Code Pilgrimage. That's a pretty good handle there. Thank you so much for the follow. And Lee'sBet902. Thank you so much, everybody, for the follows. Steve's been kind of quiet today. I muted him while we were on with Rocky. I should have turned him back up so that we can hear him. But the hosting comment didn't pop through there. That should appear as a notification. Let me go back to the alert box. Turn up that music so we can hear Steve. We need to hear Steve. Oh, there we go. Oh my gosh. OzCoder, thanks so much for the follow and the subscription. My gosh, thanks for the subscription. I really appreciate them, and we will match that and make sure that gets over to our friends at Girl Develop It. All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And there we go. Now we should start hearing Steve again. Where did my chat room go in the UI? It just decided to refresh. Not just refresh, but just go away. You're kidding, right? Is this working? Okay. Cool. So thanks so much, OzCoder, and thank you, Thrinen, for the hosting. I appreciate that. So we're rolling out this authorization policy bit by bit here, and I'm pretty happy with how easy it is to add new capabilities to this. Hey, there's Ashley. All right, that appeared right. Excuse me. Let me just check my time here. It's a little bit after 12. I'm a little bit longer than I normally like to go. I'm checking my calendar. Yep, you know what? I do need to run. I have some tech checks I need to get to. So, I'm going to wrap up right there. And I think we're at a good spot because we got a couple things implemented that are good to support our application here. So I'm going to go back over to this window, cancel that run, go back one more to my PowerShell here. And I've got those new files that I created for policy constants and my new requirement. So let's add all of that stuff. And added authorization policies. Yeah. Typing. I can spell and I can make that work really well. Let's push that. Oh. You don't like that? Fine. Now let's push. Come on. There it goes. All right. Let's take a look at our tags. Do I have any tags in the repository right now? Because we're at a nice place. I don't have any. Let's call this, let's say, version 0.4. Ashley. All right, so I'm going to tag this. Let's call this v0.4. And I'm going to push with those tags so that 0.4 gets labeled up there, and I will create a pull request into master. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit because you're right. It's a lot there. Yeah, Kit, that's right. All right. That's a lot of changes. And they can be automatically merged. Awesome. first, let's call it an interim release. Oh my gosh, and I even had the Mario music run out. Pending, waiting for AppVeyor to build. Was so committed by that point. Let's squash and merge. Yep. All right. Awesome. So now, if we go back over here, we have a master that is tagged 0.4, which means there's also a release. And we can put some release notes to go along with this. So we've got that all out there. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in and joining us. Tomorrow is the big architecture workshop. I'm really looking forward to that. Let's see if there's anybody out there in a programming stream that we can check out. Yes, workshop tomorrow. Absolutely. Naysayer88 has 220 people watching. What's Naysayer working on? Unser multi-block structure plugin. No, that's not him. Where is Naysayer? It must have just ended because I don't see him on the list of programming channels. Let's see. You know what? I don't see somebody. Where was Naysayer? Yeah. Game engine programming. This sounds like fun. The AWS have EKS Day in IRL. Sound tweaks is what he's working on. And Naysayer 88. Yeah, let's send over there. All right, thanks so much. Naysayer 88. Right, do I have that right? Yep. Cool. So we will raid Naysayer. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. We will see you tomorrow. Yeah. It's the easiest way to find those tagged streams. Absolutely. Well, it's actually in the title of it. Alrighty. Cool. All right, everybody. Take care. We'll see you next time. That'll be tomorrow. Big day, long day. 7 hours of code.